I would love to be able to use the Earth node that I was graced with getting for good. What the Soper brothers have done, I've become with the Giggle Academy, I've become a Soper Maxi as opposed to a Watkins Maxi. So I would love to follow in those footsteps in some capacity um, and support the Giggle Academy and doing the same kind of initiative that they have.
Welcome in, Mobilers, to episode number 2 of the Meet the Mobilers series here, hosted by the World Mobile Alliance. I am Fareed, joined by Cal, aka Clover Notes, and Rob, aka Trek Pool. Without any further ado, we've got a pretty big member here, contributor to the World Mobile ecosystem, who's going to be diving into his connections and his introduction to the World Mobile Network. And so we're going to go ahead and bring him up here.
Today, we're joined by an incredible member of the World Mobile community, Neil from Shock EarthNode. So Neil has been a consistent voice of the movement, supporting the growth of decentralization and also spreading awareness by introducing new people to World Mobile. So as both an ambassador and a dedicated community member, he plays a very crucial key role in expanding the network from the ground up. So we're very excited to dive into his journey and impact that he's making to World Mobile. So without further ado, let's welcome Neil.
Hey guys, thank you for welcoming me here. I'm so happy to be part of this conversation. I'm excited to discuss all things World Mobile, and I do have a couple opportunities I'm excited to share with you guys. So stay tuned.
Absolutely, is our pleasure, Neil. So give us the rundown. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm a bit of a nomad. I like to travel, and I've been many different places around the world. And I find when I'm traveling, I like to help people. I think one of the biggest missions in life is to help serve people, and especially the underserved. And that's what I enjoy doing. It brings me joy intrinsically, and then to bring the smiles that brings on people's faces with the people I meet and the connections I make.
That's awesome. I recently saw your post with the many, many different flags, and I can definitely tell you're a traveler, as well as quite a few other community members as well. So maybe tell us, how did you learn about World Mobile?
I mean, I was an early adopter with Cardano. I got into Cardano pretty early, 5-6 years ago. And as I witnessed with the L2s on Ethereum, I thought the same kind of strategic investment with the L2s on Cardano. And then when World Mobile came out, I jumped on board. I feel like World Mobile, as is Cardano, they're like underdogs, and they're trying to like level the playing field and make things more accessible for the 99%. And so I love the disruption. I love the falling apart of the old archaic systems, and hopefully to bring in the new refreshed systems that benefit everyone and not just the few.
Absolutely well said. World Mobile is definitely changing lives out there. And what's your involvement with World Mobile, and what are you currently doing? We know that you're an ambassador, so maybe share a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do my part, just trying to jump in where and not jump out of my level of comfort. Like, I'm not a tech guy, I'm not like a big social media guy, but I'm on X as much as I can, retweeting, liking different posts. I enjoy meeting people in real life, in IRL. And unfortunately, I haven't met any of you guys yet in IRL, but hopefully that'll happen someday soon. And when I do, I'm passionate about crypto. I mean, I remember the last bull run, I was doing a Cardano over coffee and in a local coffee shop here in Costa Rica. And I love it. it's in my travels. It's rare to meet people because it's still such a small percentage of us that are involved in the ecosystems. And then when I do, and if anyone's willing to listen, then I can fill their ear up with a lot of goodies, and I can soon tell when the eyes glaze over that, oh, okay, I've lost them. Okay, just come back to the weather. Yeah. Um, and what I'm currently doing, I would love to continue with that mission-driven element of of with World Mobile. Like when I had a stake pool, and that's why it's called Shock. Is the sense that I was using the stake pool to bring awareness and financial support to monkeys in Costa Rica that were getting electrocuted from power lines. And so it was a mission-driven stake pool, but the timing wasn't great, so I didn't really launch it at the time. And as you guys all know, being stake pool operators, it's a grind to get delegators, and then to get over that $1 million mark to get consistent blocks is a bit of a grind. So I still want to continue with that initial mission with helping the monkeys here in Costa Rica, um, and then with other projects that World Mobile has access to, because it's really, really exciting, the potential.
So Neil, incredible story. I love it. I love it. It's great. So you touched a little bit about scanning, and we have a very special guest backstage that you personally have introduced to World Mobile. So I would love for you to give them a little intro for our listeners.
Certainly. It's such a delight to introduce Manny on a visual level to the community, because he's such a sweet man. I met him 3 years ago as a taxi driver, and he's been my main driver since. He's respectful, he's courteous, he's a lover of God, he's a devout Christian. And when I introduced him to the scanning for points, he was on board from day one, and he's been scanning 20 hours a day ever since for the last 13, 14 months. He's a close friend now, and we text nearly daily.
Manny, how are you doing?
I am good. How are you, sir?
I am doing okay. I'm doing okay.
Yeah, let's just start with some intros. Like, can you both tell us a bit about yourselves and how you got into crypto? Maybe we should start with Neil first.
Okay. Thank you, Cal. Yeah, I got introduced by a friend with the Bitcoin back in 2018 or so, and then quickly moved into the Cardano ecosystem and found, it resonated more so with me, with the different ideas, with the digital identity, than the Ethiopia thing, and then all the different projects that were building on Cardano. And eventually that led me to World Mobile and being introduced into that, and jumped on board as soon as possible. Because like Cardano and like World Mobile, they seem to be like the underdogs, and I'm always rooting for the underdog. And I think that's what attracts me to it, because it feels like with its implementation, it's going to make changes, positive changes in people's lives, and disrupt, the models that aren't working at the present time.
Awesome. I love that. That's great. How about you, Manny? How did you get into crypto?
Well, sir, as a taxi driver, I meet many different person every day. Among all the people I have met in my life, one of the most wonderful human beings is Mr. Neil, sir. So it was through him that I came to know about World Mobile. When I first saw the scan for points app, I like feel it game, but today it has become one of the my favorite and most meaningful activities. Every day, even before I start my car, I make sure to to turn on my scanning app. That's how much I enjoy. It is become a part of my daily routine.
Wow. Wow. That's absolutely amazing. Neil, you've done an excellent job bringing Manny into Scam for Point and into World Mobile. And I am so happy to see that someone like Manny is actually utilizing Scam for Points and is literally changing his life. And I feel like that's what World Mobile is all about.
So Neil, we see that you're doing a lot of traveling. You talk about being in Costa Rica. We know that you're from Canada. You've talked about going to India several times. How did you first connect with Manny, and how did that relationship begin? And then to add to that, once you had that relationship with Manny, what made you think to introduce him to the scanning app and World Mobile?
Yeah, thanks, Rob. I met Manny probably about 3 years ago. You take taxis quite a bit in India, and you just randomly get some people. You just through a friend, and then so through one particular service, I got Manny, and he stood out from all the different other taxiers because not only would he offer to take the luggage, open the door, try to speak English, which is a rarity in many countries, but especially in India. And so that was really noticeable. And his rates were average, if not below. And so every time I went to India or through the Chennai airport where he's from, I would just connect with him. And then so he became my regular guy. And then I started referring many people to him. And then we got to know each other a little bit better. And then on the last time I was in India, a year ago, April, when I was leaving India, I had him drop me off at the airport again, and I was already using the Scanning for Points app. And so I was telling him a little bit about it. And then so I uploaded it on his phone, and then I think he's been scanning every day since.
That's awesome. It's fun to hear how we make these connections, and they get furthered because of mutual interests. These shared contributions to things. Manny, how often do you scan, and do you enjoy doing it? Do you enjoy being number one on the leaderboard?
I am enjoying scanning, sir, because every day I am going different places, so I can feel I can see the changes in the display. So I feel very happy. It's one of my routine habit in my life.
So Neil, you introduced us to Manny on X, on some of our spaces in the past. You talked about him and his story, how you met and how he was scanning. But then you came one day and you told us a story about one of the needs that Manny had. He's a cab driver in India, and there are some things going on that he needed some assistance with. And I was just wondering if you could just tell us that story and tell us how you became aware of it, what you did, and what the result was because of how you helped take action.
Yeah, sure. I'd known Manny again like for a few years, and he never spoke of any of his money challenges or poverty. It was always quite a positive thing. He's a very devout Christian, which is a unique thing in India. So he doesn't speak about his problems, and so he had a car repair that needed happen. He needed like $1,000 car repair, and that's his whole livelihood. So he's very shy to ask me and my partner if we could lend him some money. And it was like $100 we ended up giving him, and so he's able to get his car fixed and keep working. And then it came apparent, when I had this last trip with him, he'd worked like 100 days in a row already, 100 days in a row, working 20 hours a day. One time he was so tired that I took over and drove for some of the ride because he was falling asleep because he's just working that much. And I discovered that on his car, he had $6,000, approximately $6,000 loan, one with the bank for like $3,500, and then one with a regular interest rate of like 10-15%. And then he had a secondary loan with a private lender, and that interest rate was 10% per month. And so his monthly payments just to pay his, his loans was about four fifths of his monthly revenue, and that was working 20 hours a day every day. And so I said, okay, if I gave him $1,000 or figured out how to give him $1,000, he would reduce his monthly payment by $100, and he was only making $600-700 a month. And so that kind of conversation came around. I spoke with you guys on Twitter, and then Scott, a Real Player One, came forward and he said, I would like to take care of Manny's entire car debt. And so then that happened, and then he was was debt free with the cars and these loans.
So Manny went from 80% of his income went to just paying off the monthly loan, not paying it down, not getting ahead. 80% just to pay the debt that was owed every month. And he went from having 80% go to that to free and clear because somebody from the World Mobile community heard his story and decided, I'm going to take care of it. I've been blessed with these finances. I'm going to bless somebody else, and took care of Manny's debt. So what's happened since? Neil, maybe you can share a little bit, and then maybe Manny can tell a little too. But since that debt is gone, what changes has Manny seen in his life for him and his family?
I mean, one of the first things I had him do was send me a picture of him having dinner with his kids and family, which he hadn't done in like 3 months, and have spending time with his family. So that was as really beautiful to see. He's also a couple of things. He's also started teaching other orphan boys how to read. So he's spending his time with because Manny is also an orphan, and is actually teaching them to read. He's also gave in a loan himself to another man to buy a car. So he's supported another person to drive a taxi. So he's definitely, paid it forward, and that's what he's continuing to do. And he's not short on ideas of how to help people.
I personally love it. I know I've been a little bit quiet here so far, but the joy that brings me, right, to help someone else, but then to just, as you said, to see him paid forward. Rob highlighted this during episode number 1. What makes World Mobile, I think what it is obviously the project is great. They're helping to connect the unconnected, etc. But I think for me, it's the community, right? And hopefully this is an outlet through the alliance, right? Not just for us to talk about World Mobile, but to talk about the real life impact that we as the World Mobile community have had amongst one another. And I really, really am impressed, right, by how something that was just sort of an everyday interaction, right? You calling for a taxi has now evolved and transformed into a completely different experience now, where you guys appear, well, not even appear, you guys have a bond that is thicker than just skin deep, right? So I know that he's obviously very thankful. I'm sure that you feel great about being able to help somebody out, and just to see the entire World Mobile community rally to help a single person now, I think really, really makes a big impact. And obviously, given that he's number 1, as World Mobile rolls out and he sort of claims his fame, hopefully he's able to enable others around him to also be able to rise.
And if I want to jump in there and add, and this is exactly why we started the Meet the Mobiler series, because there's so many of these stories that our community hasn't really heard, and it hasn't really this actually hasn't even been talked about. And if you really think about it, World Mobile is absolutely changing everyone's lives, no matter who it touches, starting from the very first village they connected, to having fishermen be able to be able to sell their fish much quicker, to having Neil be able to connect with someone from India and provide them all of the the necessary tools to actually now be able to support his family. This to me is also very, very touching, and it's amazing to hear. There is, I don't want to change the subject because I understand this is an absolutely an amazing story to keep on talking about, but I do want to ask, there's been a new Android app upgrade with a lot of different upgrades and new badges and new scanning improvements, and I wanted to ask you, Neil, as well as Manny, what's your favorite new feature? What's the favorite new improvement of this latest version of the Scan for Points app?
Yeah, I think the app itself is just in its seed stages, right? I think it's just hoping the team. Well, I know the team has just really laid the foundation for something to be amazing. And so the things that they're trickling out, like I love the fact that you can see the name of the leader. That's one thing. I love the fact you can see the scan history. But I'm hoping there's going to be a lot more, because it's the potential, I think, with what's possible with this app and to really gamify it and really get more people on board is quite big. But it has most of the same. I mean, I just turn it on, stick it in my pocket, and I go for a walk with the dogs or in the car. I like coming back and seeing if there's any positions have moved, but most of those features are the same as the old app. But just to kind of, and it's also changed it's aligned with the new branding and the new color scheme, and so everything looks really slick. I'm hoping that there's more and more features coming out regularly.
I have new application. Every day I am scanning in my new application. The last 2 days I am driving continuously 15 hours more, more than 15 hours. 2 days I scanned continuously in my new application.
And what do you think? Is it good?
It's very good, sir. Starting
Awesome.
stage,
Awesome.
it have some problems. Now all cleared.
That's good. That's good to hear. That is good to hear. Gentlemen, go ahead, Neil. I feel like you want to say something.
Yeah, well, when Manny first started using the app, he was pressing it every 15 minutes while driving. So remember, I don't know if you remember, the app used to have, you could only scan every 15 minutes. So he was pressing scan every 15 minutes for the first handful of months.
Yeah, I
It's
wonder if he
addictive.
was right. Well, I wonder if he was the one that submitted the suggestion for us not to have to do that constantly, right? Because he's probably fatigued of doing that. And that's my thing, is like the dedication. It's very impressive to see. I'm on Apple, and so I haven't had the opportunity to jump in there, but I see and I hear how competitive the landscape is when it comes to scan for points. And to have somebody, right, like Manny, who's completely dedicated, obviously, to his craft as a taxi driver, but then also 100% all in when it comes to scan for points, it's just mind-boggling amongst everything else that he's having to deal with, as we've learned, today. And so I'm just, again, very sort of blown away and very humbled, right? Just hearing his experience and then seeing how dedicated he is to World Mobile with everything else that he's got going on. And I'm really hopeful and hoping that this opens up more doors for him, given the fact that, he's been a huge asset to World Mobile. And I'm sure that the amount of data that he alone has provided, right, has made a huge impact with World Mobile and sort of their decisions in India where he's at.
Well,
Um,
Neil, we love having you here, and it's great to see and talk to you. And we know that there's going to be a lot more of this in the future with you, and it's great to see Manny as well. I'm just wondering, as we start to wrap this show up for tonight, what are some final thoughts that you have? Some things that you'd like to share with the community?
I would love to be able to use the Earth node that I was graced with getting for good. What the Soper brothers have done, I've become with the Giggle Academy, I've become a Soper Maxi as opposed to a Watkins Maxi. So I would love to follow in those footsteps in some capacity and support the Giggle Academy and doing the same kind of initiative that they have. So I asking you, Rob, as someone who's doing the Earth node as a service, if you were to run my Earth node as a service, I would donate a third of the rewards from that Earth node to that same initiative with Giggle Academy. And that's how I'd love to move forward with using the community and the initiative that's already started here.
I think that we are all very, very impressed with what the Soapers are doing. And Neil, you and I have had some conversations offline about some of the shared visions that we have for what World Mobile can do and how we can go about doing that. And so I love that you are willing to say, I have an Earth node. I need help running it because of all the traveling that I do. But I still want to take this and utilize it for the benefit of others, not just for funding my travel or padding my retirement or anything. I love that people are forward thinking in that respect, and you very, very clearly have a heart for others. You want to see others benefit. And you want to use this for noble and good purposes. And so I'll just say live right now that if you want me to help by operating your Earth node, I would gladly take funds received from the operations of that, my fees, and take that and help match what you're doing in order to benefit other people. So very, very happy to do that. Following
Awesome.
your lead there, and then we can also discuss further some other shared interests that we have with benefiting others through World Mobile. We've discussed some of these things. So this is, I don't think this is the end of the road kind of a thing. I think this is opening doors to a lot of things that you and I can do with other people as well in the World Mobile community. So I'm absolutely on board to partner with you there and to benefit other people as a result of your Earth node.
Again, I am speechless here. The World Mobile community comes together for the greater good. And it just brings me a lot of joy because the sharing economy is just starting. You know, for a lot of us, we've been here for a couple of years now. But if you look at the grand scheme of things, there is still so much road ahead of us. And to see Earth node operators coming together for selfless missions, what you guys are doing, I know you guys get joy out of it, and it gives you a sense of fulfillment. But this is really going to have a snowball effect, and I can't wait to see what other Earth node and Air node operators begin to think about when it comes to doing things outside of themselves. Obviously, you have to be able to take care of yourself before you can sort of look outwards, and to just see you guys do this live, because again, I wanted to let the viewers know, like, that was not planned. Getting on this call, Neil did not give us a heads up that he was going to be making that offer to Rob, and I don't think that Rob knew that offer was coming his way. But for him to, without a second guess, accept and double down by also giving a portion of his own fees there, again, really shows where the heart of the community is. And that's why I continuously say the World Mobile community is unmatched. And so I am excited to see what else comes out of this. But Neil, thank you for the selfless act. Rob, thank you for, being willing to operate. I've told you this, Rob, on plenty of phone calls. You are a World Mobile Maxi, and I think that will pay off. You've done a lot here for the community. And Cal, this by no means is like, I think that you understand, right? You've been working alongside Rob, and I'm getting a little giddy here. But my thing is all of this comes full circle. There's been a lot of nights where we've all had doubts about where we are, where we currently stand. But Rob, the fact that you have been so dedicated to World Mobile, I think that hopefully you're seeing things are coming full circle. And I honestly think that this is just the very beginning for you. Neil, I want to just say thank you. I know that Manny also wants to say thank you, but you've shared such heartwarming stories for me here. This has really been an eye-opener. And for me, as a creator, I don't necessarily have the same exact relationship that Cal and Rob have with the World Mobile community, but this has exposed me to so much here in the last couple of days that it lights a fire under me to do more, right? Not just for myself, but for those that are around me as well. So I'm extremely excited. Just want to again, reiterate my thanks for the both of you. And that was a really, really heartfelt moment for me. And I'm sure everybody else that's watching this right now. So kudos to the both of you. I'm excited to do like a part 2 in a couple of maybe months or years to just touch base right on the impact that that's had on everybody around. So again, wanted to say thank you. And so as we get ready to wind things down here, Manny, thank you for taking the time to join us here for the second episode of Meet the Mobilers. And I'm sure that everybody else up here wishes you a wonderful rest of your day, because it is morning where you're at. Definitely make sure to continue scanning, but be safe. That's number one, right? You want to make sure that you're able to drive safely first. World Mobile can always come second. Neil, thank you for being an Earth node operator, contributing to the ecosystem and taking the time, right, to share your insights here and your relationship here with Manny. That's been massive. And as always, Rob and Cal, I thank you both for joining me here. I believe we're going to be streaming this Saturday. And so again, we're going to be talking very soon, but I believe that will do it here for the second episode of the Meet the Mobiler series, breaking down and exposing the World Mobile community to all the members that make it exactly what it is. If you guys have enjoyed today's content, please make sure to smash that thumbs up, as it's one of the best ways to support the Alliance here. If you want more, consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, then definitely make sure to reach out to myself, make sure to reach out to Neil, make sure to reach out to Rob, Cal, or Manny directly. We'll leave the links to everybody's contact information down below. But if you have the ability, definitely make sure to reach out. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and comment down there. That'll do it here for this episode. Again, thank you all for these wonderful thoughts and for this wonderful session here. And we'll see you all in the next one. Cheers, everybody. Take care.